Well, it says we're live, at least for now.
So you're welcome to turn your cameras on or off, whatever feels supportive for you.
Alrighty, so now we have a number of teachings from the Anguttara Nikaya, and this is numerical discourses that I'm Aya Sivijana, and this is Aya Nyanika. And maybe we can start with a Namo Tassa as a good starting point. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham Dhammam Sangham Namasami. These suttas are about listening and listening to the Dhamma and why it's important to hear the Dhamma and also how to hear the teaching effectively. And I also noticed that, and when I was thinking about these suttas this morning, it doesn't talk about how to determine that something is the true Dhamma. I have a lot of confidence in the suttas. And so if someone is speaking from the teaching, using the teaching as a reference, I think one can have more confidence how they interpret it. One of the key things in the Kalama Sutta, they talk about whether it's causing is it leading to suffering, or is it leading to happiness? And is it leading to us breaking the 5 precepts? Or is it, are we encouraging us to keep the 5 precepts? So whether it's harmful or helpful, causing causes for bringing up causes for happiness or suffering for oneself and others. So this is like one of the tests. And then for the deeper Dhamma, then is it leading to liberation of the heart? So
have we done the Gotami Sutta here? We might
not
do that one in the future as well.
we could do that one too.
Yeah.
The house you should know for yourself. That's another good one.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just how to listen, why it's beneficial. So I'm gonna do a share screen of a document that I prepared. And this looks like it may be it. Very good. So everybody can see that. Let's see if I can move this so I can, whoops, that's not it. There's some way to move this bar. There it goes. Okay. So this is the 2 main suttas. We may only get through the wanting to listen. We'll see, but this is a very brief sutta. I'm just going to pretty much, would you like to just read this?
From the document?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Anguttara Nikaya 5202. It's just very brief.
Okay. So this is the positive side. In the sutta, it first gives the negative side, and then
Well, this is just the benefits of
this is the benefit side.
It's a different.
So the sutta is actually twice as long.
No, this one is the benefits is separate sutta.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is
Oh, this one's not one we've done before. Wonderful. I'll read it for the first time. Mendicants, there are these 5 benefits of listening to the teaching. What 5? You learn new things. Clarify what you've learned. Get over uncertainty. Correct your views. And inspire confidence in your mind. These are the 5 benefits of listening to the teaching. It's
So
beautiful.
this is what uh, will inspire us actually to apply ourselves to listening, to hearing. At the time of the Buddha, they didn't have uh, all this, they didn't have the printed word. They didn't have all these electronic devices so you could access information. So hearing and listening was the method for learning, not reading. Um, and a lot of people will listen, there's a lot of recorded Dhamma available, and that's really wonderful. And but also being in the presence of someone who is teaching live, it has a different impact too, I think. Yeah, but hearing the voice of somebody, I think that penetrates the heart in a particular way. So at the time of the Buddha, there were a lot of people that went to hear the teachings again and again and again. And this is also a method of internalizing the teaching, even though it might seem redundant and the teacher is saying the same thing again and again and again. And then when I see something repeated again and again and again in the suttas, my mind says, oh, this means that the Buddha thinks this is important. That's why he's saying it again and again and again in a different, like slightly different contexts. But anyway, so that's 5 benefits, and that's in the numerical discourse. And I just kind of like a lead in to this other sutta, wanting to listen. So this may be the naughty school child. And they have to go, they have to go to the assembly, and the teacher is speaking on and on and on in detail about something, and what happens?
Should I read them?
Yeah, would you like to?
Mendicants, someone with 6 qualities is unable to step into the sure path with regards to skillful qualities, even when listening to the true teaching. What 6? When the teaching and practice proclaimed by the realized one is being taught, they don't want to listen. They don't actively listen or try to understand. They learn the incorrect meaning and neglect the correct meaning. They accept views that contradict the teaching. Someone with these 6 qualities is unable to step into the sure path with regards to skillful qualities, even when listening to the true teaching.
So I think it's kind of sad that I'm sure during the time of the Buddha, even when the Buddha was present, there were people that were like, oh, like maybe the relative that was dragged along, or somebody who's skeptical in the first place, and they go, and then and people say, oh, come, come. And so even though the teaching is true, uh they're they don't want to hear it, and they don't act so since they don't want to hear it, they don't actively listen. This is Bhante Sujata's translation. We're going to look at these terms or try to understand. So it's just kind of like you have a prejudice against it from the first place, and so you're not interested and you don't really apply yourself. So that, yeah, so they, and then they only pick up, they learn or they misinterpret what's said, or sometimes just to fit your views, you can turn things around. It's very easy to do that. People do that all the time.
In the suttas, we even have monks that, have been hauled to the Buddha because they're holding a different view. And the Buddha will say, foolish monk, did you ever actually hear me teach that? And some of them, right there in the presence of the Buddha, they reform the view. And I can imagine there's both embarrassment, but then a lot of relief because they can go on with their practice. And there are some that really staunchly grip those views and end up with the consequences of those views. So it's not just it is the relatives that get dragged along, but it's, robes don't make you immune.
Yeah, and some people ordain for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
So, so that's, but someone with six qualities is able to step into the sure path with regards to skillful qualities when listening to the true teaching. What, six? When the teaching and practice proclaimed by the realized one is being taught, they want to listen. They actively listen and try to understand. They learn the correct meaning and neglect the incorrect meaning. They accept views that conform with the teaching. Someone with these six qualities is able to step into the sure path with regards to skillful qualities when listening to the true teaching. This is a Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation. Would you read this one? This is just the positive.
Okay. Possessing six qualities while listening to the good Dhamma, one is capable of entering upon the fixed course consisting in rightness in wholesome qualities. What six? When the Dhamma and discipline proclaimed by the Tathagata is being taught, one wishes to listen. One lends an ear. One sets one's mind on understanding. One grasps the meaning. One discards what is not the meaning. And one has adopted a conviction that is in conformity with the teaching. Possessing these six qualities while listening to the good Dhamma, one is capable of entering upon the fixed course, consisting in rightness in wholesome qualities.
Sadhu, sadhu. So it's just occurring to me when I'm looking at this translation by Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi, Bhante Bodhi. He's talking about entering upon a fixed course. So I think that's entering the stream, actually. And if we really are applying ourselves to the teaching well, it's going to lead us to entering the stream, to first stage of awakening. And that's once one has entered the stream, they're guaranteed. They guarantee themselves that for a full awakening, within 7 lifetimes, if not sooner. So, but then they consisting in rightness and wholesome qualities too. So then it says that someone who's entered the stream, their virtue is very consistent. They may break one of the precepts, but then they amend it right away. They seek to care for it, they confess to another monastic, and then they make amends, try to correct whatever any mistake they've made as quickly as possible. So this course in rightness is and also further learning and further development on the path. This is what's occurring to me, that this is what he's talking about. Does that seem reasonable to you as well?
It does seem reasonable. I'm looking at the Pali and I don't see it totally leaning that way or against it. But it
Which
seems
word?
reasonable. I'm looking at niyamam and okamitum. I'd have to do more
Okay, yeah,
researches to see, does it
okay.
equate with stream entry and other suttas, but I think it's a reasonable supposition for sure.
Well, they talk about leading onward.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so a further development on the path anyway. And if you continue to actively listen, is that how Bhante Bodhi translates it?
I
This
think
is
was that your translation? Active listening?
no, that's Bhante Sujato's.
Oh, okay.
Bhante Sujato has active listening and one lens and ear, I think is. And so because there is something about sota,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the Pali here for those six qualities. I have Bhikkhu Bodhis here, just wishes to listen, one lends an ear, one sets one's mind on understanding, one grasps the meaning, one discards what is not the meaning, and one has adopted a conviction that is in conformity with the teaching.
Something that really strikes me as like uplifting and um, brings up more sense of, oh, this is doable, is that word niyamang, that it's inevitable that if you are using these qualities, you're cultivating these qualities, that on the perfection of that, the path does open. It's inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
And the inevitability of the Dhamma doing unfolding is um, quite a blessing. It's not, there's a word I'm trying to grab and it's not coming to my head, but this,
Yeah, that sounds beautiful. Yeah. And then keep listening. You'll want to keep listening. I think that's the thing.
don't you find that, like, I mean, for me,
Or
I read suttas 10 years ago and it's like, oh, okay. And I read them now and my heart is just like, oh,
mhm,
oh,
mhm.
so beautiful.
Well, when I first started reading the suttas, there was at least something in it that really resonated with me, and I was going, "Wow, this is really profound." And then there was a lot that was like, "Oh, what is this? I don't really know what they're talking about here." And then, as we spend more and more time in the practice, it starts making more and more sense. And then
Mm-hmm.
I like to listen to different teachers and read different translations. And then something that didn't make sense to me before starts making more and more sense. And it's not only just making sense, but more applicable to my life, to my practice.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is the the importance of that repetition, even though it's just like I think like English literature, they try to avoid any kind of redundancy, and that's a kind of a writing style. But in the time of the Buddha, things were said again and again and repeated again and again and again. And it's really to drive it into our hearts in a soft way, not like hammering it, sledgehammer or something. Uh, so this is this uh, I was going to say group of six, but this is a list of six. Uh, and the first one is pretty much the same translation, Bhikkhu Bodhis and Bhante, Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhis and Bhante Sujatos. They want or they wish to listen, and that the susati wants to hear, wishes to listen, desires to listen. And the second one is they actively listen as Bhante Sujatos and that lends the ear. So this is like poetic Shakespearean or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But Bhante Bodhi tends to be a little more poetic at times, which I like. You know what but this I can, because there's this word sota, which is ear, is in the compound word, or sotar is the hearer, a listener. And then there's the odahati, and uh, of attention, applies, pays. So it's like paying attention with the ear, tending with the ear. Uh, maybe some more literal way of saying it, but that's kind of maybe awkward in English translation. And Bodhisattva likes to use the more current language. So the active listening, uh, so a lot of people understand what that, not everybody knows what that means,
Mhm.
but there is a training in active listening. Where you're really, instead of your inner dialogue going and wanting to counter or to say something more clever or show that you understand it and beyond that or something like that, you're really trying to understand what the speaker is actually saying instead of all your overlay getting in the way. And they try to understand. One sets one's mind on understanding is Bhante Bodhi's.
Do you have
And
your
there's a,
translations in here as well, or no? You didn't include yours?
I didn't, I'm just taking the, the digital dictionary
Okay.
translation, but we did talk about,
Mhm.
you had to see, this is like, what I grabbed onto is this anya, this word anya, this nya, it has to do with gnosis, knowledge. Uh, and to it's like a deep understanding, like the jnana is uh gnosis, spiritual insight to awakening to final knowledge. This is like there's understanding or comprehending. So we kind of like I think we were talking about this earlier that if you're first hearing the teaching, sometimes you're just trying to understand what's being said. You're not getting it to any real depth. Maybe you're kind of intuitive.
Mhm.
Your intuition is sparked and you're kind of you're getting it at some level, but it's still at a superficial level of understanding. But this is a starting point, and it's very important. It's like a foundation, maybe you're establishing. But then I think there's this going deeper. It's just beyond just understanding uh kind of basically what the person is saying. And you had a beautiful translation of, do you remember what you said?
I don't remember something about the heart set on awakening. But I don't know. I remember it came out more poetic.
Because here's this Anya
Mhm.
and Chitta and Upatapeti. So this is where they get try to understand or uh set the mind on understanding.
I want to look at this phrase more over time. I mean, what's coming up for me now is bringing the heart to awakening.
Mhm.
I want to look at the upatapeti word a little bit more, causing to stand near, bringing your heart near awakening, so that the Dhamma can inevitably unfold. It's just such a beautiful image, but I want to look at it more deeply before I say, oh yeah, that's the translation of the day. I don't want to
Yeah.
hold a strong
So
view on this.
yeah, within the context of this is a
Yeah.
yeah, we're establishing our yeah, there's this gnosis knowledge.
Mhm.
Um, but this is the verb here.
Right.
The upatapeti is establishing, setting up, causing to be present. So causing the conditions are there for us to awaken through this knowledge that's coming up. I don't know. it's a kind of awkward. This is a challenge of a translator, is that
Yeah.
really trying to grok what the Buddha was saying through translating Pali words, and it's not our native tongue. Um, so then they try to learn the correct meaning. And the sets up sets up one's mind and understanding. That's number 3. Number 4, grasps the meaning and discards what is not the meaning. So these two are kind of a pair, 4 and 5. They learn the correct meaning. This atta is the meaning or sense or significance. And then there's this word grabs hold of. I think that's why grasping is. And in English, we have this, oh, if you grasp something, the mind grasp, they understand, they can take hold.
Rocket.
They can, it's more than grasping. So if I'm grasping this cup, I can make use of it. I can, if I can't grasp it, I can't put it to my mouth and take a drink. I better do that right now. But so grasping the meaning, taking home the atta is there's also the significance. Also, atta is also goal. I didn't take that translation. I didn't grasp it. I didn't pick it up and I didn't cut and paste it into the document. But so the meaning, the sense, the significance, and just seizing, taking it. Yeah, so when someone is speaking the Dhamma and then there's something, what is it? What are they actually, what does it really boil down to in a way? What is it really, what is the most significant thing that's being said? We can kind of memorize details and things like that, but what is the Buddha actually pointing to here? Can we understand that? And this one was very, like when I was looking at the Pali and compared to how Bhante Bodhi and Bhante Sujata was translating this last one, uh, they accept views that conform with the teaching. So they have this word, suitable, proper, fitting, preference, acceptance. So they accept, maybe they accept. Yeah, if you try to, if you just are looking on your own and you just have the Pali and you don't have the guidance of these translators, it's often very kind of confusing.
I like
But some
the receptive.
receptive,
Yeah.
they're receptive. They accept the receptive that conforms with the teaching.
They don't let their pride get in the way. They let the Dhamma shape them. I'm feeling very poetic today for some reason.
Yeah. Well, I think that there's a certain we don't want to just kind of accept blindly,
Right.
or like be gullible, and just because somebody's saying something. But I think that I think there's this time when there's certain things around, like um some of the teachings that are not comfortable to hear, like
Yeah.
around cessation and around dukkha, and we could object and say, well, you know, this samsara isn't just all about dukkha, and what is the Buddha talking about and stuff. That you might go, oh well, I I'm kind of open to that idea that there is this concept of this is the nature of things, which is dukkha. One of the marks of existence is dukkha. And I can kind of see that, but and then you start examining it. And you say, okay, I'm starting to understand what he's saying here. So um but some people, if you go to pick and choose and just say, okay, this thing about rebirth, no, I don't have to believe it. I don't believe it at all. And I think that part is wrong, and I'm picking and choosing. Then uh even if you can't know that absolutely, you can be at least open to the possibility and go, I could I can kind of understand how that's possible, but I don't really know it. It just, so it's just like kind of like what you were saying, acceptance or receptivity, acquisitions. Yeah. So, and then this last word, samanagata, possessing, endowed with having. So trying to make that into ex they accept the views that conform with the teaching, and I wasn't really sure where it's probably at some part else in the phrase that I'm missing it.
Uh, I was,
But this is the phrase here, but
mhm.
because what happens is the Buddha has one sentence and it contains when you set yourself to trying to translate the subject may be at the very start of the sentence and the verb is at the end of the sentence, and then there's all, all these,
The compound words in between.
yeah, a lot of compound words in between. So I didn't this last sentence I just went, oh, this is so uh you know complicated. I didn't write out my translation, but I was just kind of pondering the Pali because I really respect the Bhante Bodhi and Bhante Sujato's translations. So we're at the half hour, and does anyone have any questions or comments that about this so far?
I wanna, I'm guessing you probably haven't looked into this. This word, anulomikaya, lomas in their hair.
Oh,
It's
okay, yeah.
literally following the hair.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I saw that in the translation. Yeah, proper fitting, the one of this following the hair. It's right there. So it's like kind of going along with the grain or like if you're stroking a cat and you're rubbing the cat in the wrong direction, are they happy?
right, right. Not so much if it's in the wrong direction. They
They,
like
don't-
it when it's in the right.
yeah, when it's along with the direction of the hair. I don't know if that's what following the hair.
Um, I,
That's
yeah,
what it was making me think of. You're brushing if you have hair to brush.
yeah, that's why I
If you
shave
go,
the
if you
opposite.
go, if you go the other direction, it's not. What is that called? Teasing your hair? It gets tangled.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. So it's going in the flow of, yeah, literally.
I see the word. I'm just going to do more research later, but I see the word appears a lot in the Vinaya,
Uh-huh.
a little in the Majjhima, medium Anguttara, and then a little bit more in the Khuddaka Nikaya.
Hmm.
Um,
Yes.
but it's not just a one-off word, so
Hmm.
they were able to see it in context multiple places.
Yeah, and so it's just like in English, there's expressions that
Right,
you'd have to be within that culture to understand what
right,
you're talking about.
right.
So these translators have done immense work, and so they probably can get an idea of what's being said here.
Yeah.
So they accept the views that conform with the teaching. So they're not, and I think at a certain point, It's not just because it's the rhetoric, and I am going along with the rhetoric.
Yeah,
It's more that
yeah.
we have starting to get more and more understanding of what the Buddha is talking about, and we can see it. This is the thing. It's the Buddha talks about the teaching being apparent here and now is one translation of this one. You'll have another translation of that,
Oh,
but
that works.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
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 works.
it's timely. A calico is that at any era. This is it's true.
Hmm.
You can understand it. And the Buddha pointed out things that in at least in human existence is still very relevant. You can really see. And um, so it would start out with being receptive to the teaching, but just ah, this is this word endowed, having this. I think this is this possessing, endowing is that there is some base of understanding that um helps us not that we there's this word conform. When I was
Yeah,
a
that's
teenager, I was a nonconformist. I didn't want to conform. But so we start having right view. I don't see ditthi anywhere, but our understanding is more and more with the right view, and then we accept the teaching that's based on that.
yeah. Do others have need clarification on anything or have a question or comment in this sutta?
You
Um,
can, oh, did I, you're still, can I,
Yeah, oh yeah, Amber's unmuted.
okay.
good
Amber, do you
morning.
have good morning. Hi.
Hello, thank you so much for this teaching. And I just have I think it's a comment, maybe it's a question, I'm not sure, but this is resonating with me so much because of where I'm at in my own journey with learning about Buddhism and also just the nature of learning and the qualities of good learning and listening. And as a parent, this resonates with me so much because one of the things that's so very, very difficult about being a parent is that you have all of this life experience, right? And you are trying to somehow impart that to your children. And one of the things that's so difficult is that a person maybe won't, you can like conceptually understand something and listen actively, but until you've had a personal experience or grown your experience, it's really, and then that it's the meaning starts to get deeper and like the way you connect to it. I can hear one story when I'm 8 years old, and then I hear it when I'm 38, and it has such a different depth of I don't know, like knowledge to it. And so this is so fascinating to me because the Buddha is like trying to impart knowledge and recognizing all these different levels and layers of how it is, I suppose, kind of taken up. And it just occurred to me that the entering the stream, you know, which is something I've had somewhat of like a personal focus on for a few years. I was really drawn to that concept and like been learning about it. But the the part that's really interesting to me from this is like maybe, and maybe this is my question. I'm sorry if I'm talking so
That's
much, but
okay. No, that's
the
fine.
the the Buddha is he recognizing like, yes, you're going to, you can enter the stream, but then it's going to take you another 7 lifetimes to actually build your experience to, in awareness and knowledge and like lived experience to actually fully awaken, because, the teaching can only go so far with your own experience. I think that's my question. Thank you for letting me talk so much.
Oh, no, no, that's fine. Yeah, thank you for that sharing. The stream entry, yeah, it sounds daunting too when you think, oh no, 7 more lifetimes. I remember hearing that too and going, and then,
That's
but
for
then
the slow ones.
that's for the slow ones. But then when you consider the myriad lifetimes, the Buddha says that the person who's entered the stream, he said there's I forget the title of the section on the Samyutta Nikaya, but he says, see this dirt on my fingernail, to the monks, and then he says, and see the dirt all in the Himalayan mountains. And what is greater? And then they'll go, oh, great, venerable sir, the dirt on your fingernails is trifling compared to the dirt in the Himalayas. And then he says, oh, this is the amount of suffering that is left compared to, for someone who's entered the stream, compared to the vast many lifetimes we've lived. This is according to the teaching, but also I think once there we've entered the stream, then there's this uncertainty and there's this, your life is transformed. And so you've got, there's a release, a relief. And so it is a liberation. It is a one of the stages of awakening. So yeah, so it's not to discredit the stream enterer, even the most, the Bhante Bodhi says, even the most sluggish stream enterer is one of the Aryas, is one of the noble disciples. And the fact that, you just know for certain, uh, if I go, I'm not going to walk in that direction because I know I'm going to fall off a cliff. I'm going to keep going this way. There's a certainty that, that you don't cause yourself any further harm, and that you can continue on the path. Should we go to the next sutta? It's another short sutta, and I didn't do the translating. I focused more on the other one. But it's in the Anguttara Nikaya, and it's in the five, so it has five factors here. It's called the sure path, and this is what the other one was, that to enter also, if you're listening in these particular ways, you'll enter the sure path. So this is having to do with listening as well. And it says, mendicant, someone with 5 qualities and is unable to step onto the sure path with regards to skillful qualities, even when listening to the true teachers. What 5? They disparage the talk. They disparage the teacher or themselves. They listen with scattered and disunified mind. They apply the mind irrationally. So this is a Bande Sujato's there's a translation. I'm sorry I didn't spend as much time as this, but we don't have so much time anyway. So, but we can just look at how he's translated it. And it's, you can imagine this person already is prejudiced against the speaker, what the speaker is saying, and even themselves. Therefore they're not paying attention. They're listening with a scattered, disunified mind. And they don't apply their mind to the teaching rationally. It says, Are you looking at the Polly or just the?
I'm going between the two, but I think it's notable of this themselves.
Yeah.
Because like I picked up we're rereading in our just our own practice space here. We're reading the anthology The Island together. And it's a wonderful composition book about
Ni-
liberate Nibbana.
Nibbana, yeah.
Nibbana. And the first time it really attracted me as a layperson, very early on in my practice, I saw that there was a PDF copy of it. So I loaded it on before a business trip so I could read it at the airport. And I didn't realize that the word Nibbana, because I'd never heard the word before, was Nirvana, the one that I, heard out in lay life. And so when I got to the part of the book that said Nibbana, in Sanskrit, Nirvana, I went, oh, this is too advanced. It's not for me. And so that disparaging myself that this would be something of benefit or use to me, I almost like set the book aside and or at least read it as something for somebody else. So when we disparage ourselves as being outside of the possibility of the path, um, it's harmful. It's very harmful, and it does scatter the mind. That was my experience. My mind right then
Mm.
scattered from the
Mhm.
topic and a sense of how I could apply. I was applying my mind irrationally.
So this someone with 5 qualities able to step into the sure path. And I think this also is talking about stream entry with regards to skillful qualities when listening to the true teaching. And what 5? They don't disparage the talk, the speaker, or themselves. They listen with unscattered and unified mind. They apply the mind rationally. I was going to get Bhante Bodhi's translation of this, but I ran out of time.
Mm,
But
maybe we have to spend some more time on this one next week.
good.
Who knows?
But I think
Oh, the rational. Yeah, that's going back to the yoni. Uh,
as
yoni so.
Yoniso. Yoniso would be this one, and Yoniso with this.
Mhm.
Yeah, so and this so I think that again, it's not that I think we can, if we listen to an open mind, we can check for ourselves. Is this speaker really giving the a true interpretation of the teaching, or they're just coming up with their own what sounds kind of trendy and gonna get attention, or their own opinion about it. So we kind of have to have some confidence in the teacher to have a confidence in what they're saying. And then I think that confidence in ourselves is not overly confident.
Right.
Yeah, it's not like, but I think it's more that, like you were saying, the confidence that I can learn this, that I am capable of awakening. I'm capable of really integrating the teachings into my life. And then also, sometimes I am listening, and it's just because I've been really busy and there's a lot going on in my life, and my mind is scattered.
Mhm.
And it's not because I don't want to hear what's going on, but I'll notice there's this overlay of my internal dialogue, and then I'll say, "Oh, I'm not hearing what's being said," and then I can try and right myself and really try to apply myself. So it's like these are kind of things, or if I see myself being really overly critical of what the speaker is saying, or the speaker, and I can question that too. Is this just my own prejudice because I don't like the way the person looks and the person is saying something that's really significant, or whatever, they're using a speaking style that I don't like, but what are they actually saying?
Mm-hmm.
you know so so we we have to look, make sure that when we're hearing a teaching that we're doing it with an open mind, and then but also with just some discernment, and but that's not just to find fault, but just, oh, eh, am I understanding it correctly, what they're saying, or are they presenting it correctly? And sometimes even like some of these esteemed teachers that I really love, I go, well, I don't think he's translated this quite right, or something like that. And that's okay. And I can accept they see it that way. They understand it that way. And maybe neither understanding is totally wrong.
Well, like you were saying the other day here, that the Buddha often spoke on many layers.
Hmm.
And so when it's landing on one heart, it may have a particular terminology that works for that. And then on another, different terminology is landing and working for it. I think the biggest thing is to look at the qualities that are being cultivated. And are they forward leading? Are they, what is this, sure pathing? I like to
Oh,
turn things into verbs
sure,
because they are.
Patty, I don't know about that word. That's just like, no.
See,
It's just
example.
credit.
We're just creating an example.
Yeah, like some people really love the, like, I like Len's ear, and
And I
you
was
like
like,
it. You what is it called? Not creative listening, but active listening. Like we so creative listening
yeah,
would be actually.
that's an interpretation I think that might be a little bit off the mark.
So,
Maybe.
does anyone have any comments or questions? We could stop the screen share
Okay.
unless people want to keep looking at this. Okay. Any questions or comments on this last sutta or the previous one?
Scott.
Oh, Scott.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have a
yeah.
question. You were talking about uh, doubt and reincarnation, which obviously is a big one for a lot of people. And I'm curious, like, what if you see no particular, if you can't visualize how it would work, and if you see no particular evidence of it, like, what does one do with that? I understand setting this up, which is what I've done myself. Is like, I don't understand how the cell phone works, but it's working apparently.
Hmm.
So I can accept that it's something that with a more purified mind, you can just remember past lives like it was breakfast. But when I read teachings that emphasize that, it it's just like, okay, I don't know what to do with that. It's very difficult for me to conceptualize in a concrete way how it would work. you know, just the complexity of it and just how things would be transferred, et cetera, et cetera. So the question is just like, what does one do with that?
I think, like you were saying, that cell phone analogy is a good one. And then also, what does that actually mean? Like if I could that well, the Kalamas got a teaching from the Buddha, and there was whether um you believe in rebirth or not, if you're keeping the precepts well and you're developing wholesome mental states. He was pointing them to well, I think all four Brahma Viharas. If you do these things, at the very least, you'll be happier. And if there is rebirth, then and you keep the precepts well and you develop wholesome mental states, exalted mental states, you're sure to to have a happy rebirth. And then there's also a kind of thing where um, everyone being heir to the karma has to do with rebirth.
Mhm.
And then I might just say, oh, I'm comparing myself to other people and wah, wah, wah. And then I go, okay, well, maybe it has something to do with a past life, and I need to learn something about. It's like this is an opportunity for me to learn,
Mhm.
and so rather than why me and all this kind of stuff, this is something I need to work through.
Mhm.
So just kind of, yeah, just okay, just being open-minded to the possibility, not. I
Mhm.
think it's really dangerous when there's some teachers that really publicly are just disclaiming rebirth, and they say it doesn't happen and the Buddha didn't teach it really, and this is just kind of useless and blah blah blah.
Mhm.
And then we don't see the value in considering that that's really a possibility.
Mhm.
That Go ahead.
An analogy that's coming to my mind right now is for our daily interactions within our town or city or neighborhood, it doesn't matter whether the earth is round or flat. The basic mathematics of getting to the grocery store do not require me to believe that the earth is, somewhat spherical, that there's a curvature to the earth. But it's probably good for me to keep in mind that it might be possible. It might be so. So a lot of times when the teaching it doesn't land as like, oh, that's a truth for me, I'll just set it in the category of it might be so. And then when I need the mathematics of flight plans or going to the moon or those kind of things, the mathematics of the flat earth don't work. And so then I say, well, let me try this mathematics of a spherical. My background's in math. um, then I can start to say, oh, well, this works when I use this paradigm.
Mhm.
But for a lot of my basic interactions, I don't need to dwell in whether the earth is round or flat.
Mhm.
But I'm open to it being either.
Mhm.
You're not really open to it being flat, though.
Well, I mean, I've had enough mathematics and experience and looked at the scientific experiments and things that I don't feel that the earth is flat.
Mhm.
I think that at this point in my practice of mathematics and science, I've gone beyond the flat earth theory.
Mhm.
But I think
But
too, like I was saying previously, that if whether or not you believe in rebirth, if you act as if, and you'll be a happier person.
Yeah.
Then because I think that I'm not heir to karma in a future lifetime, and then I'd say, oh, in this lifetime, I'm going to get away with it. I have figured out a way to get away with all kinds of naughty behavior, and not holding myself accountable because I think I just can get away with it. And then I'm causing myself and other people misery in this lifetime.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and whether or not I'm reborn in a witchy hell, you know, is, that, but just being open to the possibility. And then if other people are saying something about, there's some people that actually, lay people can talk about their past life memories and things like that. And you could just be open-minded and not, just say, oh, that person's ridiculous or something. Or some people actually, they do, their eyes are really opened, and then they understand something about this current life because of a past life memory.
Mhm.
And so it happens. But if we're closed minded to it, we might not, we're not open to the possibility of us having any kind of, intuition or I have some kind of I don't have an actual, past life memories, but I have like a strong sense of it,
Mm.
that, and then I get these experiences that are kind of deja vus and things like that. And that's not like this kind of psychic power of actually remembering.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's just a strong sense. And so that's enough for me to believe that actually happens. Um, and then when other people talk about it, I don't think I don't get confused or skeptical or anything like that, so, uh, yeah, so just an open mind and operating as if, or at least not just saying, no, that's not possible.
Yeah.
There's a sutta where there's this young prince comes to this young novice, and he asks him about these states of meditation he had heard about, and uh uh the novice explains it to him, and he said, that's not possible, and he goes storming off. And so he's never gonna enter those types of meditations because he just doesn't think it's possible.
Yeah.
So if we just think it's impossible to uh have memories of past life or knowledge about past life, then it won't be possible.
Oh,
And so, yeah, so I think of the open mind is a good thing, and
okay.
not dogmatically believing it just because I say so.
Thank you.
Top of the hour.
So it's the top of the hour, so we can end with the homage to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha.
And you're welcome to stay on after we stop the recording if there's other discussion or questions, comments.
Like,
Safe.
is it, oh, is it safe there? You're
Yeah,
pushing
it's-
it even.
It's safe.
Okay. Okay. Araham Sama Sambuddho Bhagava Buddham Bhagavantam Abhivade Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammam Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Sangham Namah. Thank you for those on YouTube for joining. We're gonna close for now.